The baseball tonight, Goodyear Express Tour 2011 continues to roll through spring trainings. We'll be in Florida shortly, but now in Arizona. From Goodyear, Arizona to Surprise, Arizona. Thursday, the boys find themselves in the camp of the Texas Rangers. John Kruk and Tim Kirchin to talk to the defending American League champion Texas Rangers, who are going to have to deal without Cliff Lee this season, but certainly with big expectations. Lee, of course, was the anchor of the staff that helped get them to the World Series, even though his regular season numbers with Texas were hardly glistening. He gets that big contract with Philadelphia. Here are the additions. Offensively, they could be as good as any team in baseball. Adrian Beltre, if he puts up the same numbers he did at Fenway Park in Texas, look out below. And Mike Napoli comes over. He, of course, was in the AL West with the Angels, had a brief stint, and then was quickly traded and acquired from the Blue Jays by John Daniels, who had coveted the 20-plus home runs he brings to the ballpark. The big story surrounding Texas this offseason has been the request of Michael Young to be traded. Kind of tired of moving from position to position, didn't really want to be an everyday DH. Ron Washington and what he expects from Young.
Well, in my mind, Michael is due to be here on Saturday, and I expect him to be here simply because Michael is a professional. And he has a duty to his teammates, and I think he will fulfill that duty. Beyond that, you know, we just got to wait and see what happens.
Talking, of course, with John Kruk and Tim Kirchin, and Tim Kirchin joins us now. Ian Kinsler echoes the same sentiments. He's a good friend of Young and expects nothing but professionalism. I assume moving forward, that's what the whole team expects, Tim?
Absolutely. And Ravi, at this point, I would be really surprised if Michael Young wasn't on this team on opening day. The Rangers really don't want to trade this guy. Plus, he's very difficult to deal with 3 years and $48 million left. So they have a plan for him. They're going to try to play him every day somewhere. Yes, he's going to DH probably most of the time, but he's going to play first base one day, he's going to play second base another day, third another day. They're going to play him back-to-back days defensively in order to get him some rhythm defensively. He is going to get 600 at-bats and hit close to 300 and be a good teammate. That's what everyone here expects.
End of the year last year, Tim, of course, it was Lee and Wilson, the two great left-handers. Wilson's still there. Then there's Colby Lewis. But how do they expect to potentially fill the void left by Lee?
Well, Neftali Feliz, their closer from last year, certainly is a possibility. I was told today they're going to give him a chance to be a starter in spring training. They're going to stretch him out. They're going to work on his secondary stuff and see if he can come up with the second, third, and fourth pitch and just see if it works. And if it does work, I was told, they will move him into the rotation and then take Alexi Ogando or Mark Lowe and make him the closer. If it doesn't work or he's not comfortable with it, then they could always put him back at closer, and they do have a lot of options in that starting rotation.
And, of course, about 40 more days to figure out exactly what to do with the arms. Tim Kirchin reporting from Surprise, Arizona, home of the Texas Rangers. The Rangers going to find themselves with a little more competition in the West. They won their division by more games than anybody else, 9. Next closest, first-place team to second-place team was 6. So Ron Washington knows exactly what this is going to be like.
Oakland got this young pitching staff over there. They fortified their bullpen. They brought in some power. They're beginning to play a brand of baseball that's conducive to the type of team that they have. Anaheim, they're always a threat. You can never count them out, not with that pitching staff they have, not with the power arms they have in the bullpen. And having Morales back, adding Vernon Wells to that mix, you know, they're going to be better offensively. It's going to be a race to the finish, and one thing for sure, I certainly expect the Texas Rangers to be in that race.
You're right, the Angels lineup down, and it certainly looks an awful lot more formidable with Morales and Wells there. John Kruk rejoins us. One team that isn't going to be mentioned likely by Washington or Krucky are the Seattle Mariners out there. But for Texas to repeat, John, give me an X factor here, because we know they're going to score some runs.
Well, they are, Carl, but they, you know, I think they still need a top-of-the-rotation guy. They got Brandon Webb in camp. He hasn't pitched but 4 innings in the last couple years. But what he can bring, if he can pitch anything close to like he did when he was in the National League with Arizona, is a top-of-the-rotation guy. He doesn't have to throw 90 anymore with that great sinker because he pitches with movement and he pitches with his head. If he can figure out a way to get the ball over the plate with movement, with great movement, and get guys to swing and miss, the Rangers have themselves another guy who can fit into that top of that rotation.
That would be incredible, John. Low risk and high reward for Brandon Webb.